exactly what it means. You can't sell a product at a great price and pay the biggest commission. And that's why our mechanism is one that is built to last. It is because instead of trying to capture a single moment in time, having a product that will justify a large price for a short period of time, having that product then fade into the distant memory as soon as the patent wears off and it will no longer command a premium price. You see, the entire network marketing industry for the last 3.5 decades, all over the world, has had people explaining, justifying away product pricing. If you pull back the curtain, the product pricing is caused by network marketing compensation plans. That is the truth. I'm willing to acknowledge that, having been at this for this period of time. And so now, if we are in fact going to offer products at economic advantage, then what that means is we'll be able to attract enormously more people over time. And what it further means is that as we grow, we'll be earning little commissions, not big, but they will be sustainable. Now, some of you are saying, oh my gosh, Randy, don't tell me I'm going to make less money. No, I'm not telling you that. I'm going to show you in a few minutes how to make more money more quickly, but within the context of a concept that would allow you to also, with complete, absolute confidence, know that you are doing something for every single person who engages in our company, never doing something to one, because not one person is going to be asked to spend $1 more, not a penny more, for anything we offer than they might find a similar product or service for elsewhere in the marketplace. The opposite will be true. If you can buy it someplace else and it's available from our company, you will buy it for less money at our company, period. Now, that very statement is true, and it also guarantees that you can't pay the biggest commissions, doesn't it? And so that means that we have an opportunity to have what will be, in all likelihood, a more gradual build in terms of lifestyle membership. Because why? Because there's not the enormous upfront income generation that has drawn the historic network marketing crowd into our business. And all of those of you who are part, like I have been for years, of the historic network marketing crowd, folks, that day kind of came and went. It is time now to deliver products and services to people that are of equal to or greater quality at price advantage instead of disadvantage, which is being required by a compensation plan. A product that matters to people, we have many. A company that can execute. And, I remember, I don't know if Nick would remember this, but in our first serious conversation about possibly me getting involved with this company, and by the way, what Eric said a minute ago, not only did I join like everybody else, I didn't ask for anything else. I didn't ask for anything else. I looked at the compensation plan. I looked at the people that were involved. Why in the world would I ask for anything else? If we are asking for something that is not available to everybody, then that means there's something wrong with what's available to everybody. Of course, I didn't ask for anything else, nor would I, nor should you, nor should anybody else. The offering as it stands is what we should make our decision upon, and that is what I made my decision upon. From the comment that I made to Nick when he said, Randy, what would be the fairy tale for you? What would be the thing that would make you say, oh my gosh? And I said, Nick, what if I never had to make an excuse again for the company? Been at this for 33 years, folks. How many times have I had to explain away why there's no customer service? How many times have I had to explain away why the product doesn't seem to arrive on time and quality control is not great? How many times have I had to explain away why commissioning is not done well? You see, in this case, the role of leadership is a different role than I've had to play throughout my career, because I'm not having to come behind and make excuses for and try to keep people engaged in a company which simply doesn't honor its pledges. I would put any one of you to the test. None of you have made an excuse for this company. And based upon what I and we have experienced so far, that gives me confidence that none of us are going to make excuses for this company in the future. Timing, that's all up to you. Compensation plan, yeah, it's important to know the comp plan. It's more important to understand the comp plan principles. We are going to give people an opportunity to do what they want to do instead of us convincing them to do what we want to do, and we're going to do it at economic advantage. That gives us an opportunity to attract enormously more people into the business. It gives us an opportunity to have a community. And by the way, folks, the 3 times in my career, can't explain to you how and why exactly it's happened for me, and it's not for a lot of others. But 3 separate times in my career, I've had organizations with more than 1 million people in them, more than 1 million. But I've never had more than 68,000 people on SmartShip at any given point in time. Can you imagine that? 1 million people and 68,000, the biggest number of activity in any given month. Why is that? It's because, try as I might, if the product price was being jacked up to meet the needs of a compensation plan, then over and over and over again, I would have to bring in a new person to replace one that I brought in 3 months ago, a new person to replace what I brought in 4 months ago. Think about that for a second. I've had one of the most successful careers in the industry, in the world, for the last 3+ decades, and 68,000 out of 1 million people have stayed on SmartShip. If that doesn't reach out and grab you and say, hey, it is time to turn a page. And this company is not simply the turning of a page, This is not simply the development of a new chapter. This is a new volume. This is, instead of charging people prices that don't make sense to fund the compensation plan, this is about helping people do what they want to do at economic advantage, whether or not they're involved in our business. That is an idea that has legs. That's an idea that can't be stopped. That's an idea that when it becomes widely held and people understand it, then we will have organizations with millions of people. And we certainly won't just have 68,000 of them who are active on a monthly basis. What if we had millions and we had 680,000? Instead of 68,000. You see, when Eric said this is the legacy opportunity, that's not smoke and mirrors, folks. That's not imagination. There's a reason that I'm giving this project 100% compensation plan. Next comes training and support. That is our value add. That's our value add. And I would ask you all, and by the way, I do not believe that there is only one way to do this business. There's only one way that I know how to do this business. When people ask me to teach them how to do something I haven't done, I can't do that. But no, I don't think my way is the only way, but my way is the only way that I know how to do it. Undoubtedly, there are other leaders who can teach you how to do things that I don't know how to do. I don't know how to work in the cold market. I know how to live my life in such a way today that people I've not yet met become my warm market tomorrow. I've not learned how to have big parts of my income be developed in social media and so on. I don't know how to do that. And so I can't teach you how to do that. I can teach you, however, what was described to me many years ago as a proved and predictable pattern of activities. I was taught that there are three separate columns. Number one, the elements required for success. The second column, a proved predictable pattern of activities that will lead to ultimate success. And third, a daily method of operation. I can teach you that. The role of leadership is to teach a new person who comes into the business how to get the key in the lock of success, help them win the race to profitability so they become profitable soon enough to be excited the next month. You know, a person can receive a monthly commission check or a weekly check, and the same words can create such a different connotation. A person can say, "Oh my God, I just got my check," or a person can say, "Oh my God, I just got my check." Same words means a lot different, doesn't it? An awful lot of that has to do with the role of leadership. Plain and simple, that's the way it is. And by the way, training and support, that is a process. That's a process. So that's an availability of people who can be a guide to the system. The first five elements then are what? A product that matters to people, a group of products or services, a company that can execute, for which we don't need to make excuses, timing that is clear, that is obvious, that is beyond refute on the company and industry side, but then we must subordinate that company and industry timing, the timing of the individual. Fourth, a compensation plan that provokes correct behaviors and then properly rewards those behaviors, which is looking forward instead of looking backward. The vast majority of this industry is looking back at what was. Folks, what was doesn't matter. It's what is and what will be. That is what matters. This is a company that is and that will be. Those of you who are looking back over your shoulder, stop it. All that's going to happen is you're going to get a sore neck. Look forward. That's what I'm doing. I'm looking forward, and I'm looking forward to kind of enthusiasm and joy that I haven't had in my career for quite a while. And then if we have an availability, if we're developing this beginning leadership structure who can guide a new person through the process, then the sixth element is what? It is true leadership, not emerging, not developing, but true leadership. I believe that a true leader is among the most scarce of all commodities. You know, I'll meet people and they say, "These are my leaders," and I look at them and I see the way that they behave, and I see the way that they interact with others, and I see the level of commitment that they make, and I see their willingness to stick to those commitments. And I say, well, this may be an individual who someday, one day, gets a big enough burning desire that no matter what else happens, they're going to do this. Maybe they'll find something that makes a big enough impact in their life to make 100% commitment. But this is certainly not a leader yet. I would encourage you all to understand that about the most scarce thing there is on this planet is a true leader. In fact, in my opinion, a true leader in association with a company where the elements required for success are in place, a true leader is about 50 million. A true leader is worth about $50 million in annual revenue. And so what does that mean? It means that I think a company like New Skin with $2 billion in sales means that I think they've got a couple hundred leaders. That's the truth. A couple hundred true leaders. A company like Amway. Well, I want you to know that a company like Amway doing billions of dollars in sales, 300-400 true leaders in the world. If one makes a decision today to learn, grow, develop, and become that which he or she must to become a true leader in a company where the elements for success really are in place, then the rewards transcend anything that you've yet dared dream of. And truthfully, the life that I live today is something that I would never, I've always had a lot of willingness to dream. I couldn't even imagine. I couldn't wrap my arms around the idea And today that idea is even more tangible in my mind because I've just come from a nation where people are experiencing life so very differently than me. And you know what? I don't deserve any more than them, not anything more. And so that's why I'm so eager to help them also experience life in a different one. Well, product, company, time and comp plan, training and support. And the reason I said yes was not because a leadership foundation was in place. I said yes because it was not. Because the next thing that you must know, we're going to talk about over here, foundations of leadership. I'm going to move over there. Foundations. If you want a breakthrough financial opportunity, you want a breakthrough, then here's a simple bit of truth. It will be requisite that you become part of a fundamental leadership foundation upon which others build in the years to come. One can join a very large successful company that is properly structured, where the elements required for success are to at least some degree in place, and one can earn an income building upon a foundation long ago created by another. If one learns the proper steps to getting started correctly and learns a proper method of operation, you can have a positive financial experience getting involved in companies like Amway, Herbalife, and old line companies, Forever Living Products. You can make a living at that. But the people who create wealth are the people who created the foundation years ago upon which others today build. The real opportunity today is the reason I'm here is because there was not yet a leadership foundation in place. There could not be. The company was being imagined. It wasn't even yet in place. And so that gives an opportunity for true leadership to emerge. I've spent my life preparing for this moment. That's the truth. I have spent my life preparing for this moment. And that's what gives me such joy, because that preparation has made me able to understand the moment and to then act upon it appropriately. Product, company, time and comp plan, training and support, true leadership. These are the elements required for success. And if they're in place, then an opportunity exists. If they're not in place, then a real opportunity does not exist. So the very fact that I am here today tells you that in my belief, these elements are in place minus one. What is the one that is not in place? The leadership foundation. That is that which we now seek to create. And if I could snap my fingers and get out of my head what's there to yours, and snap them again out and get out of my heart what's there to yours, then you would know that this is a moment of profound and remarkable opportunity. And every single day that you fail to act, compare your last 21 days to mine, folks. Really and truly, and no kidding. Compare your last 21 days to mine. Were you presenting this business 7, 8, 9 times per day, every day for the last 21 days? Did you find a project that was worthy of making 100% commitment to? You see, this is the truth. In the last 21 days, I probably accomplished as much as most people will accomplish in the next 21 years. That's the truth. It's not because I'm better. It's not because I'm smarter. It's because I found something that was worth making a 100% commitment to. And I can tell you that from the day that I said yes, I've done 100% of what was possible to ensure success that day. Now, every day it wasn't the same, because different circumstances in life. As I indicated, my tomorrow, my 100% means something different than my 100% today meant. And I can hardly wait. I don't know if you can sense my joy, but I've got it. Okay, so my first question to me is, Randy, are you today giving this project 100%? If so, well done. If not, why not? Why? Ask yourself that. I can say today that I've left no stone unturned for the last 105 days or whatever it's been. And I can tell you that I will not leave a single stone unturned in the next 105 days. Why? Because this is the truth in my life. Having been involved in this direct selling industry now for so many years, there are some things that I believe need to change and that our industry, that our company is changing. There are some things that need not change. And here's an example. Today, when some of my friends look at me with kind of fascination, they say, Randy, why are you doing what you're doing right now? That seems a little bit absurd to me. What in the world is causing you to move at that pace? And it's because I can reflect upon past experiences. In these last 33 years, I have worked about as hard as anybody could possibly work. I would say for probably 7 or 8 of those years. Moments when I was fortunate enough to find a mechanism where I could, with others, help create the foundation upon which others could build. For 7 or 8 of those 33 years, I probably worked about as hard as anybody you've ever seen work. Kind of like what I've done for the last 110 days and what I'm going to do for the next 110 days. Hard to do more, truthfully, hard to do more. Why? Well, because for 7 or 8 of those 33 years, I've worked like that. For maybe 8 or 10 more of those, I've worked at a more measured but very, very stable pace. And for probably 15 of those years, I've played more golf than anybody you know. I've ridden more horses than anybody you know. I've done more heli snowboarding trips. I've traveled the world, not for business, but for pleasure, for big parts of that 33-year period, I've worked less than anybody you know. And during those years that I was working less, those were the years that I was earning the most. Because why? Because I helped create a foundation upon which others build. My question to me then, and my question to you is, what does 100% look like to you? Is this project worth it? Is it worth it to you? And you see, that doesn't have to be with these elements. That has to be with the, what is it about for you? People always talk about it being the why. What's it about for me? You've heard it so many times. It's because I want to create, I'm 68 years old, but I want to create an income stream that still survives and goes on long after me. Why? Because Samantha's so many years younger than me, because I've got a little boy named Bosco. And why else? Because winners like to win. And I refuse to look over my shoulder and say my biggest success is behind me. I require that I look in front and say my biggest success is in front. That demands that I select the vehicle that makes that possible. And I have found one. I hope you have too. Well, that's my first thought. And by the way, I have no idea how much time I've already rambled on here for. Man, I can't talk a lot faster, can I? I can be more concise. And so that was my first thought, is look back at the last number of days since you get involved and ask yourself the candid question, what percent of 100 have you given it? And if it's not 100, then why not? What would have to happen for you to assign the kind of importance to a project to maybe, like in my case, to again, make a 100% commitment? Done it several times in my life. I've never done it without having an absolute stunning outcome. In fact, I've heard so many times, oh my gosh, Randy got lucky again. You know what? I'm in the process of getting lucky right now. You don't see it yet, but I'm in the process of getting lucky right now, because I identify projects that are worthy of investing myself in 100%, and then I invest 100%. That's what I'm doing now. And because that, I know it's easy for me to see the future because of the clarity I have in the past. I hope so much that I can help you see that future as well. And I hope that you're willing to take a deep look inside and say, what is it in my life that I want to change badly enough to give this project or some other project, what would be important enough for you to give a project a 100% commitment? For how long? For however long is required to get the outcome. See, find that project. I found that project here. I hope that you also find that project here. But for you, I want you to find the project. If it's this one, fantastic. I want to help you. If it's not, good luck and God bless you. But you know what? Don't think they come around every day. Don't believe that. In my last 33 years, this is project number 4, project number 5. Four have come to fruition. 4 did what they were supposed to do. Number 5. Okay, next. I've talked a little bit about leadership. And I want to describe, not today, the foundations of leadership. That's another discussion. I teach this idea of being a part of the foundation in a couple of different ways, foundations of leadership. And now instead I talk about the 3 primary foundation pieces which must be in place for the development of a large successful organization. And if these foundation pieces are not in place, it matters not. It matters not. If these elements required for success are in place, it matters not. Anything that I just said. If these 3 foundation pieces are not in place, success will be limited. It will not be profound. What is the first foundation piece? It is a rapid flow of new member applications. Now, of course, a rapid flow of new member applications is an outcome, isn't it? That is an outcome of a series of behaviors. It's an outcome of what? The 5 elements required for success must be in place, or there will not be a sustained rapid flow of new member applications. By the way, I said 5 throughout all of my career. I've said 5. Product, company, timing, comp plan, training, and support. And then, we have to be willing to keep learning. I've come to realize that I've had this idea of leadership rolling over and over and over in my head, trying to contemplate, why are there so many people who have such tremendous talent, but who don't refine that talent into skill that become beneficial to other people and exhibit real leadership? Why not? It is because I think so few people find a project that they're willing to invest themselves in 100%. And I'll talk about a series of things in the development of a leader, but now in the development of a business in our type of industry. First and foremost, a rapid flow of new member applications. That is an outcome. It is an outcome of our belief. It is an outcome of a process that works with a daily mechanism of operation. And I will tell you that this is an absolute dead, bare, acceptable minimum to build a business that you will look back at in the future and say, wow, what we did for a few years is now made us eligible to get compensated and rewarded for a few decades. What must be in place first is an organization which creates a rapid flow of new member applications, an absolute minimum requirement for this rapid flow of new member application foundation to be in place. Most people in the industry who have had What would be widely considered as meaningful success would say that would be a 1-to-1 sponsor ratio. That means one new person entering the business every month for every person in your organization who is receiving a commission check that month. So if you've got 10 people in your organization who receive a commission check, if those 10 submit 10 applications to the company, that's a 1-to-1 sponsor ratio. All of the successes that you would think of as significant successes, they have a 1-to-1 sponsor ratio or more. Many years ago, the gentleman who was teaching me, and rest in peace, Nathan Ricks, passed away a couple of years ago, a year and a half ago. But he, when he first told me that a 1-to-1 sponsor ratio would make meaningful success possible, I said, "Well, I'm not interested in meaningful success, Nathan. I'm interested in incredible success." And he said, "Well, then you should have a 2-to-1 sponsor ratio." If you have a 2-to-1 sponsor ratio, he taught me, for the next couple of years, then you're going to get paid for the next couple of decades. Because the foundation will be put in place where the recruiting machinery, the mechanism has become something that works on autopilot. For every person that's getting a check every month, there's 2 new applications coming into the company. That creates what? It creates the fresh new energy, the fresh new excitement. It creates the person who's so full of joy. And by the way, folks, let's not keep looking back over our shoulder. This is the truth. For whatever reason, I seem to be somewhat well preserved. But the truth is, this business is not about me. It is about finding me 33 years ago. It's about finding Eric Allen 20 years ago. It's about finding Larry Lane 20 years ago. It's about finding Nick Sorensen 15, or whatever the ages are. It's I will help anybody. And if a person comes to me who's 10 years older than me, I will help them. But think about this for a second, folks. What am I trying to do? What I'm trying to do doesn't matter. I know that. Whenever I say the word I'm hoping that you know that I realize that there's not a worse word than I, unless it's me. Us and we, those are good words. I and me, those are bad words. I'm hoping that whenever you hear me say those, that I'm recognizing that I could, had I not had, at every turn, an extraordinarily group of talented people, both teaching me and who were willing to be taught by me. Had that not been true, then nothing would ever have happened. But I contemplate and I consider that had Nathan Ricks not ever taught me that unless there had been a 2-to-1 sponsor ratio, that I wouldn't accomplish my goals. You see, that gave me a target. And I'm hoping tonight to give you a target. If you have a target, you just might hit it. If you don't have a target, then where's the arrow going to go? And so he gave me a target way back then. But he said, "Randy, if you have a 2-to-1 sponsor ratio, this is all going to work out great." I said, "Well, Nathan, I just don't want it to work out great. I want it to be something that," I mean, sometimes they use the phrase, I don't know where I do know where I came. It was in a battle context a number of years ago when President Bush, the second Bush, was president. He talked about the shock and awe of an oncoming military assault that was planned. And I said, "No, I want." And again, that phrase had not even been termed then, so I know. So I didn't use those words. I don't recall the exact words, but I wasn't interested in something that was interesting or intriguing. I was interested in something where people said, "Are you kidding me?" And so I said, "Well, Nathan, if 1-to-1 would make a living and 2-to-1 would make a great big living, then what would happen if I had a 3-to-1 sponsor ratio?" And he said, "Well, Randy, you can't." And I said, "Well, why?" He said, "You can't, Randy, because that would mean more new people are joining the business every month. There wouldn't be the time for leadership to develop. And pretty soon you'd have some people who didn't have access to leadership." And so he said, "I promise you that you cannot have a 3-to-1 sponsor ratio for a year. So I just promise you can't do it." And I said, "But Nathan, what would happen if I did?" And he said, "Well, Randy, if you did, then here's what would happen." He said, "You would become a household name in the network marketing industry, and you'd make more money than you can even dream of right now." Now, today, my targets have changed, but back then, that was the target. And so I said to myself, not to anybody else, because even at my worst, I hope, even at my worst, visible pride is not one of my primary problems. And so I said to myself, not to others, I am going to have a 3-to-1 sponsor ratio for a year. I'm going to, because I found a project that is worth me making 100% commitment to, and because I'm willing to learn. I'm willing to be quiet and listen, and I'm willing. In fact, I remember so close. I remember so well. There was a time early on in my interactions with Nathan. It was probably in the 3rd or 4th month, and he was teaching me a principle, and I didn't like it. And I interrupted him in the dialogue, and I said, "Well, Nathan, I think," and he said, "Randy, stop yourself. What you think doesn't make any money. How about if you stop thinking the way you think and start thinking the way I think?" And today I smile when I hear it, when I reflect upon that. I didn't smile right then. I didn't like hearing that, but he was 100% right. And so I learned to stop thinking like I was thinking, and I learned to start thinking like people who are having the outcomes that I wanted to have were thinking. And I became convinced that I was going to do something that nobody had done before, and that was to build an organization. Remember, this is not just about me enrolling 3. This is about everybody in my check having 3. And so I set myself out on a mission to create the most rapid flow of new member applications anybody have heard of. And the target, once again, if there's a target, we might hit it, and there's no target, we won't. And so I set myself off a mission to create an organization, a leadership structure that would make possible a 3-to-1 sponsor ratio. You know what? Nathan was right. I wasn't able to hold it together for a year, but I held it together for 10 months. And 4 times now in my career, and this will be the 5th. This will be the 5th when it's measured. I've been able to hold together organizations to build a combination of factors coming together at our side, not at the company side. The company's done their part. A combination of factors come together at our side on the development leadership structure that made it possible 3-to-1 sponsor ratio for the better part of a year, 4 times now in my career. And that, folks, has turned into, for me, 29 consecutive years of network marketing earnings in excess of $1 million. Is that not a mind blower to you? To me, it is. That's like the most absurd thing I've ever heard. But that is because up until now, 3 times previously in my business life, I've been able, with the assembly of incredibly other talented people, have a 3-to-1 sponsor ratio for almost a year. Never quite a year, but several times, very close. And that makes it so euphoric. The flow of new member applications, the joy, the excitement, the enthusiasm. What I want is, I never want the pot to boil. Because if the pot boils, then when you pull the pot off, if it overboils, you pull off the heat, and suddenly there's half as much water in it. I don't ever want the pot to boil. I don't want this spiky, hypey, what people call momentum. The truth is, I don't want it. What I want is as steep a slope as can be created without causing the pot to overboil. And what I found is that maintaining a 3-to-1 ratio for a year would quite likely cause the pot to boil. There would be people who didn't have leadership available to them. I don't want that. What I do want is the steepest escalation that is possible in the context of making sure that we're developing leadership quickly to meet the needs of that rapid flow of new member applications as they come into business. Well, the first foundation piece for the development of a large, successful organization is a rapid flow of new member applications. That is an outcome. First, having the elements required for success in place. Second, understanding a pattern. And remember, there are other patterns of success. I don't doubt that at all. I'm sure there are other people in Nélo Life, and certainly there are other people in the network marketing industry who can teach you ways to succeed that are different than the way that I have succeeded. But I can't teach you how to succeed any way other than the way that I have and do and will succeed. And then there's a daily mechanism of operation. And so the outcome is a rapid flow of new member applications. That outcome cannot happen unless these prior things are in place. What is the second foundation piece? The second foundation piece goes, boom, I have to tie these two together. Because over here, you see another column. What is the second foundation piece? It is to assure that every person who joins our organization places whatever is for he or she, him or her, an appropriate initial order. Well, what exactly does that mean? An appropriate initial order means a different thing for each person. That is based upon your goal. It is based upon your financial circumstance. It is based upon your willingness to work, based upon your targets, not based upon money. And so an appropriate initial order. I'm going to combine these 2 thoughts here. Over here, I'm questioning, and I know you probably can't read it, but it says 25%, 15%, 10%, 5, 5. I hope when I put that there, that every one of you automatically said, oh, well, I know what that is. That's the customer acquisition bonus. Randy, he wrote 25, 15, 10, 5, 5. That's the customer acquisition bonus. I wonder what he's going to say about it. I mean, if you look at 25, 15, 10, 5, 5, I hope from now on, from this point forward, when you see that chain of, oh, Randy's talking about the customer acquisition bonus. That is the way to make more money more quickly. If I described to you earlier the fact, if I correctly described and you were able to understand that if instead of selling an overpriced product specifically to justify a compensation plan, then trying to make up other reasons that the product is worth it. And I've always been involved in companies that sell good products. I've never been involved in a company that didn't sell a good product. I have also always, throughout my career, literally until now, made excuses for the company and had to justify product price, knowing full well that a big part of that price was wrapped up in the compensation line. That's just the truth. It's an unavoidable fact. And so when we look at the fact that we will, by definition, have a more gradual build, because if a person's joining the business and they're spending $79 or $59, if everything they're buying for less money, that means by definitions, commissions will be small. And it means they will take more people, and more people takes what? More time. Because it takes a period of time to develop this leadership structure, which makes possible the rapid flow of new member applications. If the leadership foundation has to be put in place in advance of that development of a rapid flow of new member applications. And so therefore, it will take more time to develop that large income stream if commissions are small, because you're actually saving people money. Well, now, if we combine the customer acquisition bonus with the unbelievable opportunity to help people live life as they want to live it with less money. We combine it with what? We combine it with the product, which we still offer at a substantially discounted price. You can buy this from where? Well, you can buy it from stellamar.com, or you can buy it from our company. If you buy it from stellamar.com, you're going to pay $100 for it. If you buy it from our company, you're going to pay 80. It's better, isn't it? But you see, that's a 20% discount. It's not a 50% discount like most things in the e-commerce side. It's not a 50 or 60 or 70% discount like many of the hotel properties. And you all understand this, that our primary commissions, though, yes, we do earn money in the e-commerce side, even on those deeply discounted products, they have to be very, very, very thin if we're going to provide economic advantage in the product price itself. And so now by delivering a product which has not just value, incredible value, this product is worth what is being sold for on Stellamar's side. It's worth $100. Maybe it's worth more, but we offer it for $80. Well, now think about this for a minute. If we are selling a bottle of vitamin C, if somebody on our e-commerce site buys a bottle of vitamin C, and that bottle of vitamin C costs $10, I'm just making up numbers right now. If it costs $10, well, then we know that 30% of that is commissionable. And so now we've got a $10 product. 30% of that $10 is commissionable. That means, let's just call it $3. We know it's slightly more than that, $3.33. And you're going to earn between 1% and 2% of $3.33. That's a tiny commission, isn't it? And that tiny commission will become a great big number when instead of having 1 million people in the organization a decade from now with 68,000 on SmartShip, when suddenly you've got 1 million people with 680,000 people who are active, because instead of causing people to spend more money, we're helping people do what they want to do at economic advantage. They're spending less. You see, there is no limit to what can be accomplished. Literally no limit. Not a page break, not a comma, not a period, not an exclamation point. It is entirely new volume. It is a complete new imagination of what the network marketing industry should always have been. That's what I feel. And by the way, I will state this. I probably know and understand the network marketing industry as well. There aren't a lot of people who have had a bigger, broader experience than I, and literally every part of participation in the industry. As I said earlier, whatever you know the best, that's the way that I know this. This is not just a page break. It's not a paragraph. It's not a new volume. This is an entire new thesaurus of knowledge, thought, processes, and principles, which make a lot more sense. Okay. So it's going to take a lot more people, though, because of that thought. But now what if we could offer a product that is still at a value, substantially less money? And by the way, when I talk about this product, I've got a really good friend, Andy, and I was happy to see I saw a comment on somebody's post on Facebook yesterday, the day before, asking if anybody had some health benefits. And I won't, because we don't make health claims, I won't say what the health benefit was. But Andy chimed in and he described the health benefit. I said, wow, that's like really cool. But you see, that is not the benefit that I talk about. This is a concept. Up here it says SC. Those of you who watch the Santa Claus, that could be Scott Calvin. That could be Santa Claus. This is the Stellamere concept. The Stellamere concept is what? It means that we offer a product still at a discount, a better price you can buy somewhere else, but it is a 20% discount. It's not a 50, 60, or 70% discount. That then gives us, and it is a story product in the company that the name is a hero product. It is an impact product, is what I've always called it. A product that has the capacity to change the way that a person looks, change the way they feel, change the way they feel about themselves in a measurable, not simply anecdotal way, impact their health. This is an impact product. An impact product that is not in widespread distribution elsewhere, that is offered at a lower price where one could buy it elsewhere, and yet at a price which could fund the more typical network marketing commission. So now just think about this for a second. If a rapid flow of new member applications, if I then combined that rapid flow of new member applications with each of my members placing an appropriate initial order, well, an appropriate initial order for some people, for many, will be a $59 membership fee. That'll be an appropriate initial order for some. An appropriate initial order for many will be a $79 fee, because now it is not just the membership for our own consumption, but now what? Now we're an affiliate. Now we have access to the compensation plan. Now we can make money at it. That'll be an appropriate initial order for many, many, many people. But what about for the hardcore entrepreneur? What about for the me's? I hope for the yous of the world. If I were getting involved in a business, let's say for a moment I was going to get involved I decided to open a flower shop. Well, what do you suppose? Do you think if I was going to open a flower shop, I would have one flower there? Or do you suppose I'd also have some flowers in case somebody might want to buy a flower from me? Clearly, I wouldn't start any other business and just buy what I intended to consume You see, our membership, and by the way, I'm only complimentary. I am only congratulatory. If anyone ever thinks that I am critical of anyone, I've been misunderstood. And if anyone ever thinks that, I apologize for that. But for a person who wants to develop an income more rapidly, then the company comes along again. Talk about an ability to execute, an ability to see into the future, an ability to shift and adapt and adjust so that we're meeting the needs of more people more of the time. Now we come along with a product that, while yes, still at a discount, is at a 20% discount instead of a greater discount. A person who buys into my idea that if I was opening a flower shop, I wouldn't buy one bouquet of flowers. I'd have a little cooler full of them. That's what they look like. And so if a person joins me in the business, for whom it's economically prudent, and understand and hear this loudly, I don't ever want one person to place an order in our company they can't afford to place. I don't want one person on this planet to feel increased financial pressure because they got involved in our business. If that ever happens, and it was done because they misunderstood me, I want to get in front of that right now. That is not what I want. But I'll tell you, for a person who has a big objective, exactly what I do, I enroll the new person in the business. When I enroll them in the business, they become a $79 affiliate. And then, you know what a smart thing to do is to buy that largest pack. It is to have 10 of these on hand. Why? Because now I've got one for my consumption for this month. I've got one for my consumption, perhaps in the subsequent month. I've got one for my wife's consumption that already went through a couple of bottles, but I need to have some flowers to sell to some other people. I need to have a flower to put in their hand and say, see, touch, taste, feel, consume, and therefore understand. You see, if I place an executive pack order, then what have I done? Well, now I've got $1,000 that was brought into the business. By the way, a tiny amount of money for the entry into business. In the 30 plus years of my career, the average entry in my business throughout that entire period of time has been about almost $2,000 in the entire period of time. This still is very, very small in comparison. But now what happens? Now, instead of 30% of this being commissionable, it is 80% commissionable. And so $1,000 order results in 800 volume points. And instead of the commissions being so tiny, being 30% commissionable, and then 1 or 2% of that commissionable amount actually being paid. Why? Because we're providing lower prices to people. It's all logical, isn't it? Now over here, I've got in addition to, not instead of, in addition to, now I've got $1,000 order. I've got 800 volume points. Those 800 volume points is paid out at 80, excuse me, this is paid out at 80% commissionable. That means 800 volume points. And those 800 volume points are going to be paid out 25% on generation one, 15%, 10, 5, 5, instead of 1% up to a maximum of 2 all the way through. That is why there are now people, if you want, if it is your need to make $1,000 this very first week of your participation in the business, great. Let's introduce 5 people to the business. Let's just do that. Let's just introduce 5 people to the business. We'll help them place this first order. We'll teach them how they can become unified. We'll teach them how to earn those first commissions. And then we'll show them, you go out and enroll 5 people who in concert with their initial entry, they place an order for 10 bottles of Stellamar. And just like that, 800 volume points will flow through your matrix. Do you realize having one person place an order for 10 bottles of this product, one upon entering into business, would impact your rank advancement capacities the same as having 800 new people enter the matrix? See what this company has done, and yet another, in my view, stroke of wisdom / brilliance, understanding, care, compassion, trying to help people do what they want to do. They said, yes, we understand that we'll have a slower, gradual build. Because why? Because we're not overcharging for anything. And so when I say a slower gradual build, I don't mean slow. No, we have to have a rapid flow of new member applications, no matter what. I mean a slower ramp up of income because we're helping people do something for their economic advantage, and our success is a side effect of it. Those smaller little percentages will take longer. They also can. I mean, my vision is that years after I am 6 feet under, year after I am up high looking down, or however it works out, saying, go people, go. That because we're helping people do what they want to do instead of convincing them to do what we want to do, instead of causing them to pay larger prices than is required to fund just simply to fund a compensation plan. We completely turn the page. We have this more gradual escalation of income here, but now recognizing that a guy just like me, I think back 30 years ago, if Nathan had told me, Randy, it's going to take you 2 or 3 years before you can make $10,000 a month, then no matter how badly I wanted it, I'd had to say, I can't, Nathan, because I've got to pay my bills now. And so what we do is we add this mechanism, which makes it abundantly possible to have a rapid flow of new member applications, an absolute magic message, which appeals to literally everybody. I mean, everybody, helping other people gain economic advantage. An appropriate initial order should be based upon your goal, your financial circumstance, your willingness to work, what you want to do and accomplish. For me, virtually everyone that I enroll in the United States of America will acquire not just the membership fee, but they will acquire one of the 3 product packages to include Stellamar. Why? Because the product does what it's supposed to do: change the way the person looks, change the way they feel about themselves in a measurable, not simply anecdotal way of impact their health. It is unique, it is proprietary, it can't be acquired anyplace else for less money, and yet a person can join the business, they can enroll one person, and they can make a couple $100 just like that. Eric, I have probably spent way more time than you wanted me to spend. In fact, an entire hour is up. And I didn't get to develop this concept as fully as I would like. Perhaps I'll be lucky to invite me to come back on another time and I can round that out further. But I'm going to turn it back over to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, is there anybody more articulate or as great of an orator as Randy Schrader? Buddy, that was brilliant. And yes, why don't we just have Randy back on for the next Monday Mastermind? We appreciate you, man. We love you. And yeah, it's just kind of getting emotional. You get it, right? And a lot of this has been your input and the other leaders. I think here's the one thing I want to ask you before we go. Why is it, though, that Randy Schrader, with all his experience and success, recognizes the dawn of a new era and wants to be at the cusp of a paradigm shift, when you and I both know so many people that are stuck in the past, and they're preaching a same false narrative that no longer applies to today? And unfortunately, a lot of them do not have money, they do not have the lifestyle, and they're still using rhetoric and terminologies that time has proven not to be sustainable or viable. Now, I'm just curious, why is that? Is that a gift from God? Is that intuition? And how can we maybe help people to kind of transform their minds and renew their minds?
Actually, I have a very easy answer for that, Eric. We are either going forward or we're going backward. There's no such thing as stagnation. We're going forward or going backward. And so for me, I'm completely convinced that it is 100% attributed to the following things. I discovered long ago that what I really want is to be more happy more of the time. That's what I want. I want to be more happy more of the time. And I've discovered that there are a few contributors to that. And those contributors are that I must have a degree of spiritual wellness and it must be improving. If I have a degree of spiritual wellness and it is improving, then I will have the clarity of thought to recognize opportunity. I do not believe that I will have the clarity of thought to recognize opportunity if I'm not engaged in daily disciplines which help my spiritual life improve. Second, I'm nothing special. And I know everybody gets all excited. All the women in Nigeria, they think you and Larry Lane, you are the answer, right? Because you're so darn cute. They tell me those guys are so darn cute. You know what? That's not me. I'm not the body beautiful. That's just not me. But you know what? I'm younger than my 68 years. I just am. And that is because for now, many, many, many years, I've been engaged in physical disciplines. I have disciplines that relate to both nutrition and exercise. And if I didn't have those disciplines, then there's no way that I would have the confidence, the poise, the self-esteem. It wouldn't be there. And I think that when people try to gain financial outcomes before they look at personal outcomes, they're going backwards. And so I have daily disciplines that impact my spiritual well-being, my physical well-being, and then my mental well-being. I would ask all of you this question: are you among those countless people who have fallen into the trap of, all around America, 50% of the people wake up in the morning, they watch Fox News, those are the Republicans, they get extremely angry at the Democrats. The other 50% of the people, they're watching CNN, they're getting extremely angry at the Republicans. Well, what exactly is to be gained from that? What exactly good thing is going to come? If I let Google take me by the nose and lead me down their trail, and pretty soon I'll learn about rape and murder and atrocities and anger and hate and bitterness, where's that going to go? And so a long time ago, I established a bunch of mental disciplines. I refuse to let the world guide me. I refuse to. And since if I'm not going to accept outside influences that make me less, then nature abhors a vacuum, then I've got to replace that negative content with positive. And now for so many years, I've been constantly aware that my total outcome is based upon what I now know. If I want my outcome to improve, I have to learn something new. My total outcome right now is based on my skill. If I want my outcome to improve, I've got to improve my skill. And most important of all, if a person were to say, well, Eric, it's fairly evident that Randy guy, he's got knowledge, he's got skill. I just don't like him. He's arrogant. He's full of himself. He doesn't tell the truth. He smells like liquor. I can't stand the way he looks at the women. And I see if people don't, when I invite a person into the business, it's much more than that. I'm inviting them into my life and me into theirs. And so I've been in the process now for decades of trying to identify and being willing to have others identify in me any character of causticness in my character who would make it more difficult for me to interact with other people. This is the answer, Eric. People don't want to hear it, maybe. If I'm spiritually, physically, mentally, and emotionally fit, then I become eligible for financial wellness. That's the truth. And if I'm spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially well, then I become eligible for relationship wellness. And that's where the joy all is. Another long answer to a short question, but that's it. If I do those things, then I see opportunity.
Fantastic. Okay.
Recording stopped.
Ladies and gentlemen, give Randy Schrader some. Randy, go love on Samantha. Go love on Bosco. Check your phone. We had tremendous momentum in our company.